Thank you for waiting, and I want to say that I just arrived back from Brisbane last night. It was a good full day of work yesterday. I had the privilege of meeting both the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Anthony Albanese, as well as the Honourable Richard Marles. Two good meetings with them, as well as other subsequent meetings in certain matters we want to get done for the country. Yesterday, our meeting with Prime Minister was happened more than I met him on 3 occasions. The first occasion was a specific annual leaders dialogue. Papua New Guinea and Australia engages in annual leaders dialogue. Since I took office, we've been able to step up these engagements. This is the 6th of PNG Australia Leaders Dialogue. Australian Prime Minister, myself, had a wonderful dialogue in that meeting. Final exchange of signed security treaty between our two countries was exchanged. The security treaty between Australia is now in force and in operation. This was historic for us, the first ever security treaty. For Australia, this is the first in 70 years or 70 plus years, the only third ever. They got a security treaty with USA and New Zealand, and is the third treaty they choose to enter with Papua New Guinea. I want to say from our front, this was a recommendation we made at the signing of the bilateral security agreement a few years back. I think it was in 2023 when we signed the bilateral security agreement. We proposed that why don't we elevate our relationship to a treaty relationship, and treaty means we are now an ally and not just having relations. We have security and military relationship with all countries we have bilateral relationship with, but with Australia it's now more special. I want to say from our front, Australia is no ordinary country. It was the country that birthed Papua New Guinea. From the parliament, we were birthed. We have the same cloth of democracy, same cloth of a free market economy. We are intrinsically a Christian nation by characteristics, and we are also Pacific Island nations. And so in that context, the close proximity, the kinship, and the relationship we have in Australia compels us to migrate to not just an ordinary relationship, but a relationship of allies, and we now in alliance under a treaty relationship. I want to also indicate in the same breath that this is not purely a defense arrangement per se. It is an umbrella cascading arrangement under the concept of 2 houses, 1 bunnies, or 1 fence. A security fence that is enjoyed by both countries without 2 unique houses. And what I mean by this, if I could break it down from the PNG context, 2 house, 1 fence, you understand clearly. If a 2 brother they live in the same territory, one has a fence house on its own, another has a house on its own. In military terms, the PNG Defence Force reports to our PNG Defence Force Commander. The Australian Defence Force reports to the Australian Defence Force Commander, but in major operations and collaborations and also exchanges of capacity, upskilling, we would be working together side by side. This is a major step in our effort to rebuild and strengthen our own defence force. Our own defence force must be strengthened to defend our nation of 462,840 square kilometers of land we have. In that, we have over 800 kilometers of land border with Indonesia, over 30 kilometers of river border, over 5,000 square kilometer of ocean space, one of the biggest EEZ in the Pacific. And so our own security needs compels us to look for at the very earliest upskilling and upgrade of our PNG Defence Force capacities by virtue of the fact that our signatures were exchanged yesterday elevates our PNG Defence Force capacity to the level of Australian capacity as we speak. In spirit and in principle, we're working towards a step where our PNG Defence Force their capacity will be upskilled, including our focus to bring 7,000 men force at the very earliest into our PNG Defence Force structure under the command of our Defence Force Commander. I want to also indicate this is not just a Defence Force matter. Under the treaty, under the one fence concept, our two people will exchange more freely. Our two businesses will exchange more freely. And issues like chips playing, issues like more Papua New Guinean exporters exporting to Australia, whether it's agricultural produce, livestock produce, or any other produce for that matter, or Australian investors investing in our country. Given the umbrella security arrangements we have under treaty, we then will flourish in our people-to-people exchange. And the first benefactor to this at the earliest would be over thousands of Papua New Guineans now to be enrolled into the Australian Defence Force. And of that, they will lose their PNG citizenship if they choose to be in that program, and they'll be conferred Australian citizenship and will be reporting to the Australian Defence Force Commander. I want to also indicate we will not be working to lose our talents to Australian Defence Force. PNG government will look into making sure our own Defence Force capacity and resourcing is stepped up so that we're able to match, especially the work conditions of PNG Defence Force to be on par with Australian Defence Force. But I just want to indicate that program will see up to 10,000 young Papua New Guineans, men and women, being grafted into the Australian Defence Force over time. And that is one of the first tasks to be undertaken in the treaty relationship. Australia is a country also with many workforce needs. I made it clear in the meeting with Australian Prime Minister yesterday that any need in as far as workforce is concerned, not just the labor mobility in picking fruits and all the basic labors, but any skilled labor need or any other labor needs you may have in Australia. We will work with PNG Education Department, upskill our education department, making sure our grade 10, 12, our technical colleges, our nursing colleges, and our university certificates and degrees are compatible with the Australian standards so that Papua New Guineans can find employment in PNG as well as also in Australia. That is one of the cascading benefits of this umbrella security agreement or treaty, and I look forward to a time in the not too distant future where many Papua New Guineans at all skill level and all certificate levels can also find employment in Australia and not just the seasonal workforce that is happening or the labor mobility unit that we run, sending laborers to go and work in Australia. And I want to say this, in my view, is one of the greatest benefit of the treaty we've signed, that young Papua New Guineans who are qualified as well as non-qualified, if there's a space that opens in Australia, we could be exporting our young citizens to go and work in Australia. I want to also indicate in the conversation we had yesterday, focus was also on chiefs. All systems are now firing for chiefs to run on in the first game 2028. On a side note, on a lighter note, we told Chairman Peter Valandes, and I want to, through our own media here, relay my great appreciation to Chairman Peter Valandes of National Rugby League and the outgoing CEO of National Rugby League, Mr. Andrew Abdo. They were wonderful hosts to me and Prime Minister Albanese and the other two colleague Prime Ministers from Tonga and Samoa last night. In as far as National Rugby League is concerned, chiefs must be hitting the ball running in 2028, and the NRL has its fullest support behind making sure whatever chiefs need in respect to game preparation. They are on standby to assist with the capacities. I did thank our chair lady Catherine and her board. They're looking for more player recruits. Players of PNG heritage will be given fair consideration, but I want to also stress that we don't want to just put in players for the sake of putting in players. We want to get the best lineup in first game 2028, and Prime Minister Albanese and myself joked on the side that why not his team is Souths, and of course my team is Chiefs. I said, why don't we get Souths and Chiefs first game in Port Moresby in 2028? So we're looking forward to that sort of conversation. So I want to announce to all our citizens that your team is on schedule to run on first game in 2028, and we will be working to make sure on both sides. And part of the preparation process and for long-term sustainability, Australia government, through a signing with 4 nations yesterday, with PNG, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, they're investing around $250 million in schoolboys and schoolgirls rugby league. Schoolboys and schoolgirls rugby league. Our own PNG Rugby League was there in attendance. They'll be a big beneficiary in proportionate to our sports competitions back home. In proportionate to that, $250 million to be invested over 10 years for the young boys and young girls to be in school and play rugby league and to be part of the Chief system. And I did indicate that PNG Chiefs will not, whilst we have the PNG name in front, but it'll be a team that embraces Tonga Rugby League, Samoa Rugby League, Fiji Rugby League, Cook Island Rugby League, Niue Rugby League, and all Pacific Island, including Torres Strait Islanders who are playing rugby league. We will embrace the Pacific and far north Queensland in as far as catchment area of junior boys and girls competition to be part of that catchment radius and for us to pick the best into the future, making Chiefs sustainable going forward. I want to announce here to all young boys and girls who want to play rugby league, be part of the school system. Be part of the school system the next 10 years. You don't go into school, you will not be participating into the feeder school catchments for you to possibly make a crack into NRL. And it'll be not just Chiefs who will be picking you. The NRL has full knowledge that Papua New Guinea will be the biggest breeding ground for rugby league players into the future. And so that investment by Australia government is deliberate, over $250 million invested in schoolboys and schoolgirls in the Pacific region, will be prorated against school children participating in rugby league in school competitions. And I gave my fullest commitment. PNG will have the biggest schoolboys and schoolgirls rugby league competition in amongst the Pacific Island countries. And I want to indicate that a major breakthrough in as far as junior sport is concerned for us. I want to also give indication. We met on the side. We signed an MOU with Queensland University of Technology to work in partnership with them. Apart from us sending students to go and study in the university, work that we've started with them is to look into the artificial intelligence technology to us to migrate as a country quickly at the earliest and two areas of concern that we want that address is the public service position selections and government contract issuance. We want to eliminate human emotions and human involvement in the chain of process to select public servants to work positions, including departmental heads or issuance of contract. It must come through a computerized system where AI picks the best person to a position or best company proposal to a contract that is being tendered. That is something I want to really work at the quickest, and hopefully before the next election, we have this as part of the general framework of government operations, so that public servants are selected on merit and contracts are also issued on merit. And I want to thank Queensland University of Technology. They sent their Vice Chancellor and a senior leadership team. They signed with Minister for Information and Communication, Minister Shamalili, as well as Minister for Higher Education, Minister Kinoka, was a witness to the MOU, and work is progressing and running with Queensland University of Technology to make an AI system that is friendly with an ability to give us to this country a merit-based selection system for public service as well as for our contract issuance. Not to say the system we have has been totally eroded to of not good use. It is working, but human hands has a tendency for nepotism, one-talk system, personal preferences, personal bias, especially when it comes to split decisions. And so we want government today and government into the future to be assisted by a computer-based system, and the technologies available right now. It can deliver merit-based selections much quicker than at present, and we are dead serious in this one. It was part of my 50th anniversary address at the Independence Hills, and we are working to make it happen at the earliest. So into the future, Papuans apply for a job, they know if they stack up number one, they get the job. If they apply for a contract, if they stack up number one, they get the contract, eliminating personal preferences. Those were the meetings we had. Most of you know I support Maroons, but Maroons lost. But that trip to Brisbane, in my view, was one of my better trips to Australia. It was successful. The treaty now gives us an element of a symbiosis with Waigane with Canberra, Australia with PNG, people to people, business to business. Within this, I see more synergy, especially people engaging with Australia. And I told Australia in no uncertain terms, the same relationship, reciprocal relationship you have with New Zealand must be the same reciprocal relationship you have with PNG. So we have interoperabilities, not just at the defense level, but all levels with us, and our two people grow side by side going forward into the future. And this is not a construct for Anthony Albanese and James Marape at present. This is a construct for the children of two countries, Australia and Papua New Guinea, living side by side, walking step by step together as we journey into the future. I want to also indicate to all of you, a reshuffle will be coming tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon, when I return from Vainamo, I'll release information on written information to the country on where the reshuffle is finally settled on. There'll be reshuffling. There'll also be new ministers appointed. There'll also be portfolio rearrangements. I repeat, reshuffling, new ministers appointed, and portfolio restructuring that will take place, all with the inherent view on what has taken place and repositioning government to close the next 8 months on outstanding commitments to the country, especially make sure what we've started at a pace that will see us progressing those commitments to the country we made in 2022, and also preparing for whoever comes into government in 2027, in my view, some structural rearrangements that should be the structure that the government who comes into office in 2027 take on into the next 5 years or so that government will be in office. So it will affect certain leaders, it will affect certain comfort zones, but it is not about pleasing one or two. It is about getting it right for our country going forward, especially that for the first time now, in 4 years since 2022 elections, I have no hindsight of politics. I'm clear right through April next year, and I feel some things must be done right in the context of cabinet structure, personal heads, and the structure of various portfolios that are held in different parts of our cabinet structure. Realignment is now in the process. Hopefully, the advice that I'm getting from State Solicitor and my own department is fully complete by tomorrow 4:06, and I will release full information to the public. If only caveat is that if that advice is still not yet fully ready, especially in some of the functional realignments that we want to do in key mainstream government areas, then we will then advise the country tomorrow before 4:06. But in any case, an announcement will go out to the country. And this is not personal, this is not politics, but hopefully getting a structure that carries us to 2027 April, and then preparing for the government post July 2027 after the REITs are returned. I want to also indicate part of that also commitment that was outstanding since 2022, and a commitment that I am faced with before 2027 elections is the highest integrity of elections in 2027. Section 50 rights of our people is the most important right every citizens have in contact with leadership. And every 5 years they got to exercise that right they have in the Constitution. And even if it is at the peril of Pangu Party, I want to get it right after our 50th, that one person must vote once. I think this has been misquoted and some have, and please don't believe everything social media writes. Social media is full of personal opinions and not facts. Social media sort of framed something that quoted the new electoral commissioner, which was not her word, saying that our LPV will be replaced with the first past the vote. That's completely outside of the conversation. There is no government policy in place where LPV is to be replaced. The statement I made was simple. One person must vote once under the existing limited preferential system. We've had issues when in the Highlands, you have only limited hours to vote in one-day voting systems, and we sometimes have a congested queue, or sometimes people convoluted the process by doing block votings. That we want to isolate. The greatest gift this government can give to every citizen in 2027 is the use of their Section 50 rights to vote for a leader of their choice. And so I want to speak to the country as I conclude my press. Your moment to decide on who leads the country will arrive in June, July 2027. That is your, if I could use this word, sanctified rights. You have once, every 5 years, you arrive at that moment. I committed in 2022 a better voting platform in 2027. Time is not on my side. Hopefully in the process, and I commend the opposition leader, and I commend those who were part of the Electoral Commission Appointment Committee. In the two shortlisted of candidates, the one ranked higher in terms of all numbers assessed was picked in Dr. Nicole Helly. She ranked much, much higher than her peer, and I said it with all manners of transparency. And we will give full support to her for her to try to deliver under her administration an election that is better than past elections. Especially, and I, in that committee meeting, I did made my expression known to her that please, one person, one vote, that elderly woman or elderly man must vote a leader of his choice or her choice. The young 18-year-old boy or girl must vote a leader of his or her choice. And so that work will run at the very earliest. I will do my utmost best to assist the Electoral Commission to making sure we arrive at that process, and I want to appeal to all of us out there, wherever you are, assist this process. We also recommend that the election must be run by public servants, not picking any Tom, Dick, and Harry on the street. We want public servants to run elections. So if they participate in illegal activities during elections, we could have the ability to terminate them for participating in illegal activities. So I just want to make this clear to our country. We are that serious in the elections, in the limitations we have. Dr. Nicole Helly arriving into office just right when we are almost facing the election year, we'll give her full support with the election team. I asked for those in the head office here, as well as all provincial offices. If you love your country, think not about which position you occupy, but let's all work together to deliver safe, fair, and better elections for our people to engage in vote next year. All right, thank you too much. That's the reason why I call you all into press. Please go and get the presses out to our people. I have a cabinet waiting on me upstairs, and I'll have to run to cabinet. Thank you too much. Good.